Hey guys, we're back for another episode of Lessons and Reflections for Vital MX. This time I've got 4-time Supercross champ, 2-time Pro Motocross champ, Ryan Villopoto online. What's up, RV?
What's going on, guys?
Not much, man. Just chilling out. Excited to talk to you. I would think through all your years and all your championships and all your lessons that you had some lessons that you learned while racing that helps you post-racing, whether it be in business, relationships, anything else you've done post-racing. So I want to see what your top 5 are.
Yeah, I mean, yes, I would say racing has a lot to do with building, character, building who you are, and the people you surround yourself with. I will say there's nothing that is more valuable than, I guess, age. The older I get, you always say, I'm dealing with my kids right now at 7 years old, and they think they know everything, and we're not even to 13, 14, 15 years old, right? So, I mean, I would say as a young professional in my position, like, listen to the good people around you, but there's tons and tons of noise, from other people that you maybe don't need to listen to, but you need to be able to decipher and filter, what's legit, what's good information, and what's not, I think.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Again, especially as you transition into, your whole life you grew up riding, so it kind of becomes something you're just used to it. It becomes part of the program. But then when you quit racing and you have to figure out what's next in life, that same lesson probably translate, right? Whether it's starting a business or just even any relationship, listen and, maybe not always think that what's right.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think, being bred, being brought up and almost bred inside of this industry, it is tough. I mean, look, there's only a few of us that I think deal with, the magnitude of retirement, like myself, Duns, James, Ricky, unless you kind of engulf yourself into something, boredom can kind of be gnarly, from going from the schedule that we went from to all of a sudden stopping, now for me, like, I still deal with some of that, being bored, slow times of the year, like right now in the next month and a half, like I'm not doing pretty much, not a lot other than baseball and things with the kids. Like, I'm very, very involved with the boys, which that's what I've chosen to do. But no, I think if you retire, you need to keep yourself busy some way, right? And no matter what it is, like, it's going to take work. Like, we started a coffee business, coffee shop up in Washington when after I was retired. It was a short stint lived because we only lived up in Washington for 2 years and we just couldn't deal with the rain. So we ended up moving back, but just like that, having an idea, executing it and putting it together and putting a good team around you. Like, I think that's one of the biggest things is in our industry is putting a solid team around you, having a good race team, but also having either a good trainer or a good spouse or a good chick or whatever the case may be. That's there to help the program, not and add to the program, but not add any outside noise and things that are going to take your time up. Because it's nonstop. You got to kind of think it, breathe it, sleep it. And train.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's funny enough, you and I were talking before we started recording, and you didn't actually prepare for this very much, so you don't necessarily have 5 lessons ready to go. So I was thinking I would ask you a couple questions and see where it leads. A couple things that stand out to me is to be at the top level of the guys like you mentioned, yourself, Ricky Carmichael, et cetera. You kind of have to be selfish while you're in it, while you're training. Once you're out of it and you have a family and you're doing all these things with the kids, you have to be selfless. Did you find that transition difficult, especially like with the wife? I'm sure she was very involved and understood why you're training, but now you're not racing professionally anymore. Now let's give back to me a little bit. Was that a difficult transition at all?
Yeah. I mean, I think anytime you stop doing something like, and over a course of years, right? Like, my career was professionally only about 10 years, but you start on a 65, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we've all been at this game for a long time. It just turns professional, right? Once you turn 16. But, I think so. Like, it's not everything. When you're a racer, everything revolves around you, for sure. Everything from the team to your base, your weekly, what you're doing during the off season, trying not to travel a lot. So yeah, it is pretty selfish. But that's any athlete. If you're going to be great at anything, any athlete has to be some bit of selfish, or have a little bit of selfishness to them. It all can be a little bit different, where and how they're selfish too.
Sure. And when the kids come around, how much did that change you? How much did that open your eyes to life outside racing?
I knew I was always going to be very involved, with my kids. So, on a daily basis, so I don't think I wasn't caught off guard on that, because I'm already super, super hands-on. I already knew that's kind of the way it was going to be. But no, it's harder. It's harder now than it is fucking racing, Racing is very simple. There's like, hey, you have A, B, and C to do today. But with kids, there's no A, B, and C. It's basically the whole alphabet, but bounced or jumbled around in a fucking, and you're just pulling straws, pulling letters.
Right.
And, one day it's this, one day it's that, and one day it's next. It's like, oh, we got baseball practice today. Oh, we forgot a haircut today. So things are just much more busy, but also all over the place. We knew exactly what we needed to do, where we were going, where we were flying to, what hotels. Everything was kind of planned out.
Yeah. So that's probably like structure you're used to in your training and your racing. Structure. Yeah. I'm going to work out at this time. I've got to ride this. I got to pedal this far. Yeah. I have to ride at this time. I have to be at the track at this time. Autographs are at this time, etc. And now life's kind of just whatever. It's like, like when you pull one of those confetti things and it just blows up and things go everywhere. You're like, who knows where I'm going to be right now? So so that's probably something else you had to deal with, is a little less structure. Was that uncomfortable?
I think the less structure also comes from, or not comes from, but produces some boredom too. A little bit, like without structure. It's like, oh, I don't really have anything to do today. Well, this and that, so like, it can be tough. It's tough to currently sometimes, like, fuck, what am I going to do? What am I going to do today? Or, and it's just, and some of that comes with just, well, you just gotta, I've kind of realized it's just the stage of life, and for example, like, I've been wanting to buy a piece of property somewhere for many, many, many years, but it's just not in the cards right now. Yes, I can do it. I can afford it. But right now, currently, with where the kids are at 7, baseball, moto, all these other different sports, where we're at, where we live, everything, it just is, it's not in the cards right now, but that doesn't mean it won't be in the cards in, 3 to 5 years. Ryan, yep. Thank you. 3 to 5 years.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Okay. That makes sense. Let's do one more that kind of comes to mind. Yeah. While racing professionally, also communication is probably very key. You have to be able to relay to your mechanic, to crew chief, to suspension guys, what you're feeling. You have to deal with logistics with whoever is running logistics for the team, media. So communication becomes key in being successful. And also in business, the coffee company, with your wife, with your kids, you have to be able to communicate. It's a different type of communication. But did racing help you with that at all? And did that translate once, you're dealing with relationships and business?
Yes, I think it does. Relationships, maybe not as much as maybe business. And the reason why I say that is, as a racer, as a top racer, I feel like, you have to be able to compartmentalize a lot of things, right? So, just like what we saw with Jet this weekend on the line, with his mechanic pulling off the tire cover, when they pulled onto the line, like, he had to compartmentalize, hey, we have an issue, right? An issue's happening. Like, mechanics working on getting this deal off my tire. 30-second board is up. Like all this shit's happening. But he was able to compartmentalize that, and that was one issue. But as soon as he knew that obviously his dude's hands were out of there, that it was good to go, like he salvaged a massive start. So I think one thing that I have, which maybe doesn't, like I said, doesn't translate over to, especially with a woman or a relationship, is men can tend to compartmentalize maybe better. At least I can, so I think that as a team and as somebody that you're working with in the team, you have to be able to, hey, we have an issue, or we're gonna fix it, or we're gonna resolve it to some degree. Some days that happens, some days it doesn't, where they don't resolve an issue, let's say. But I think that has helped, like just for example, in everyday life, I compartmentalize things and deal with them just differently than other people, like everybody does.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I think that the racing has definitely helped, for just the industry in general has helped shape and form and myself to be who I am today, for sure.
Fantastic. Well, Ryan, this was easy, man. These are a little quick interview. Appreciate your time, and I appreciate you jumping on here on Lessons and Reflections for Vital MX.
No worries, buddy.
All right, take care, bud. Have a good day.
All right, Jamie. Later.
All right, see ya.